Let's go through the framework again before we start processing logic. We basically get the input scanner so that we can get the user input from keyboard. Then we will get the input file name, opening up the input file. Similarly, getting the file name, output file name, and open up the file for output. Then we will do a while logic, while input file has next. We will keep on reading and keep on processing. And once the processing logic is done, we will close the input file, output file, and give user a notification that the execution is done. So this is a framework that you can use for any processing logic. You can change the logic inside here while, in the while statement, and easily implement other logic as much as you want. But let's focus on this get input file logic now. So how do we get the input file? This is how you do it. Read the next line. And of course here it's not read the friend name, but read the next line. Let's say input line. And now for each line, get the character count. It will be int input char count equals to, and how do we get the character count? It will be the length method. And finally, we can have output. How do we write to a file? You will do this. So not writing the name, but writing the character count, which is, now all these is one block. And in fact, if you want, you can also write it like this. You want to write a input character count, but instead of defining the variable, you can also put this line directly. And what is the input line? It's an input file dot next line dot length. You can chain them together to form one single line that can replace all above. But and once you start actual real programming in real world, this is the more typical way of writing code to make it more condensed. But of course, at this point, while you are learning, you need to separate them and make sure that each step is correct. And even at work, while you can write code like a chained action like this, you need to also pay attention to readability so that your code is understandable, it's easier to understand, and people can start using that as soon as they see the code. So now we have the code. And we need to get to, we need to create the file, the input file. I'll just put roses are red, violets are blue. And I'm going to save it. But where do I save it? I need to save it to a place where it's easier for Eclipse to read. And in order to do that, I'm going to check what is Eclipse current workspace. Which folder is Eclipse current folder? I'm going to put other this way. Oops. By going to File, Switch Space, and the other, it will show me the current folder. I'm going to copy this folder name and opened up the folder in Eclipse in the file folder. This is the Eclipse work folder. You have a metadata folder, which is reserved for Eclipse. And there's a homework verification that I will reserve it for myself. And everything I show you in the course is in my project folder, and which is the project. If you look at this here, the Eclipse project is called My Project, and everything of this My Project is in this folder. It's in the workspace folder, My Project subfolder. Everything of this project, and this is the same as the project name. The folder name is the same as the project name. Inside this folder, you see there's a bin and there's a source. Bin is stands for binary, and is where the Java classes, the Java bytecode are stored. Source is the source code where you save the Java files. And as you can see, this source folder is right under My Project inside Eclipse, as well as in this folder structure. So the folder structure partially maps to the Eclipse work structure. Whatever shows up here, source and source, are mapping that you can see. Things like binary are hidden from readers, from the users. So users will not see binary folder inside this My Project. As well, also this JRE system library is reserved for Eclipse, so you won't see this library here in the file folder either. The only thing you can see is what you are supposed to see, which is the Java file folder, Java file structure. And under here, you have all the packages. Each package is a folder. And let's go to session 3, where we have all the Java files. You can see how these folders are matching between Eclipse and the file. Now let's create, actually, let's copy the folder name and save this file to input.txt. So now we have this input.txt, and that's the file name that we're going to use. Okay, now let's start running. Oops. I'm going to run this code. Input file name will be input.txt, and says zips cannot find. And I think I have made a mistake. Why? Because Eclipse folder is right under, let me bring up this folder again. It's right under the Eclipse. This is where the folder is. So in order for Eclipse to be able to get my input, I have to use this subfolder string. Input.txt. Find the pass. I think I need to put the // Oops. And here I need to put a // If this doesn't work, looks like I need to copy the whole entire folder so that it works. Now it works. So let's say the output file name is txt. Execution finished, and let's go to this folder. Now output file is there, and you can see 14, 17.